Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Sunday, November 13, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Pittsburgh Steelers vs New Orleans Saints. I will be taking the Saints -1.5 on the road as I see them bouncing back from their loss to the Ravens last week. They are scoring the 10th most points per game and averaging the 6th most total yards. The Steelers could have Watt back, but I don't see him fixing the issues that the Steelers have had in their secondary. They will continue to get gashed through the air as the Saints will continue to score throughout this game. The Steelers have also lost 4 of their last 5 as they continue to struggle to move the ball on offense. They are scoring the 31st most points per game and averaging the 28th most total yards. They will struggle to consistently move the ball as the Saints will get enough stops to slowly pull away throughout this game. The Saints have given up some points this season, but they will be okay in this one. The Steelers have struggled to move the ball on the ground and through the air as they will stop the run and force Pickett to beat them through the air. That won't happen though. The Steelers are averaging the 31st most passing yards per game as the New Orleans secondary will step up and shut down the Steelers' passing attack. The Saints are the better team in this matchup as the Steelers will continue to slide in the wrong direction. Pick the New Orleans Saints and lay the points, -1.5. Alvin Kamara, 4.3 yards per carry, is going to run all over this Steelers defense and should catch a few balls as well. The Saints will consistently move the ball as receiver Chris Olave, 14.4 yards per catch, will continue his breakout rookie campaign against the Steelers secondary. I also like Pitt to find some success on offense against a New Orleans defense, allowing over 25 points per game. The Saints will score early and often, pushing the pace and the total over. Bet the over at 40.5 points. Chicago Bears vs Detroit Lions. The Lions had no business winning this game as the Packers controlled the clock by a count of 34-42 to 25-18, and they were outgained by 389 to 254 yards. The big difference was turnovers as the Lions picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times, including 2 times in the red zone. Jared Goff was 14 of 26 for 137 yards with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, while Amon-Ra St. Brown caught 3 passes for 55 yards. Jamal Williams led the running attack with 81 yards, while D'Andre Swift had 10 yards rushing and caught 3 passes for 40 yards. The Lions rank 11th in scoring offense with 23.5 points per game. They rank last in defense, giving up 29.3 points per game. They were pretty even with the Dolphins in total yards and first downs. It simply came down to a field goal. The running game has carried the Bears all season as they rank number 1 in rushing yards in the NFL with 195.4 yards per game on the ground. In this game, Justin Fields was a monster, rushing for 178 yards and a touchdown. He also passed for 123 yards and 3 touchdowns. Cole Kmet caught 2 touchdown passes, while Darnell Mooney caught 1 touchdown. The Bears averaged 20.8 points per game, which is 21st in the league. They give up 24 points per game, which is also 21st in the league. The Lions are coming off a win over the Packers in a game they probably should have lost if Aaron Rodgers did not screw up so badly in the red zone. The Bears are coming off a loss in a game they probably should have won as Justin Fields turned in another great performance. In this matchup, the Bears have dominated and they are at home, where they are 2-2 on the season and 2-1-1 against the spread. And they are facing the worst defense in the NFL, which ranks 31st in yards allowed on the ground. The Bears are the number 1 rushing team in the NFL, so Fields and company should run wild on them. Take the Bears to cover the spread. Take Chicago -3 points. The Chicago Bears are 21st in points allowed at 24.0 points per game, but over the last 2 games, since trading away 2 key defensive players Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith, the Bears have allowed 49 and 35 points to Dallas and Miami respectively. Prior to those 2 games, Chicago had not allowed more than 21 points in any of its previous 7 games. On the season, Chicago is allowing an average of 347 yards per game, including 147.2 yards rushing, 30th, and 200.7 yards passing, 10th. Although Roquan Smith no longer plays for Chicago, he remains the leading tackler, 83, for the Bears, with the next closest Eddie Jackson at 65. The leader in quarterback sacks for Chicago is Jaquan Brisker with 3, and as a team the Bears have 13. Chicago has 9 interceptions, and Eddie Jackson has a team best 4. Both Detroit and Chicago are playing poorly on defense. The Bears are allowing an average of 24.0 points per game, which is 21st, and Detroit allows an average of 29.3 points per game, which is 32nd or last. The Bears are scoring 20.8 points per game, and Detroit scores an average of 23.5 points per game. The total has finished over in 7 of Detroit's last 10 games overall, and in 4 of Chicago's last 5 overall. Take the over, 47 points. Miami Dolphins vs Cleveland Browns. The last time out, the Browns were able to snap their own 4-game losing streak, and by dominating the Bengals on October 31st before the bye, gave some hope going forward. Traveling to Miami is bound to be a challenge, but with the combination of a stout running game and a formidable defense, this group has the talent to surprise on Sunday. The Browns only have 1 road win on the season, though they'll be looking to be seeing Miami later in the season, where heat isn't likely to be a factor. With games against Buffalo and Tampa Bay coming up next, the Browns know that this is a game that they likely have to pick up to turn the tide of their season. Miami's offense is far too explosive to not find success in this one, and with a healthy quarterback and wide receiver room, their matchup against an injury-riddled Cleveland secondary will be too much for the Browns to overcome in this one. The Browns will lean on their ground game, and while they will find success, that isn't in the script as a way to keep up with Miami, and that'll show as this one gets out of reach and Cleveland struggles to match Miami's scoring drives. Additionally, according to covers.com, the Browns are 1-6 at TS in their last 7 games, following a straight-up win. The Dolphins are 6-3 with winnable games in consecutive weeks before a series of tough matchups against the 49ers, Chargers, and Bills. Miami also hosts the Jets in its regular season finale. To keep up with the Genesis, Miami must keep QB Tua Tagovailoa healthy and on the field. The league's top-rated passer, Tagovailoa threw for 3 touchdowns in the Finns' last game, a 35-32 victory over the Bears. Cleveland got itself back in the win column in a pivotal spot against Cincinnati before the bye on October 31st, earning a hard-fought victory at home. It was a complete win for the Browns, as Nick Chubb rushed for 2 touchdowns, and the defense sacked Cincy QB Joe Burrow 5 times. With losses piling up, the victory gives Cleveland a reason to hope as it awaits the return of suspended QB Deshaun Watson. I don't see this game being as tightly contested as the spread suggests, as I'm not sold that the Browns' offense is capable of keeping up with Miami's on the road. There's some expectation that Chubb will open up the play action for Brissett, but the 29-year-old signal caller has not played as well on the road this season. If the Browns are going to score enough to push the total over 48.5 points, something is going to have to change. Instead, I like Miami to separate itself on the scoreboard and then dominate on the ground against Cleveland's 22nd ranked run defense. What better time to get Jeff Wilson incorporated more into the playing rotation? I'll bet the under at 48.5 points.